Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our Audience Product Expert live stream series. It's nice to see you virtually again today. And thanks again for following with so much attention and participation last week, the Hangout. I'm here with Clément today. We have been working together for the past 9 months on audiences. And I really wanted Clément to be here today because he's one of the best product experts that we have for RLSA. So it was really important to have someone really high skilled on this advanced RLSA session. So Clément, if you want to say a few words about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Well, Alessia, thanks for having me here. So yeah, my name is Clément. I've been working Google for almost 2 years now. I think it's going to be 2 years in 2 days. So there you go. I work as a products expert for RLSA, but my main role is an account planner for the Spanish market. So I'm specialized in product implementation and optimization. And yeah, for me, it's always a pleasure talking about RLSA because I really think it's a tool that not only is really advanced to work with and especially give great results performance-wise. And I don't know, so it's always a pleasure to be able to help you guys.
Yeah, Clément works every day with accounts, just implementing strategy with his clients. So it's good to have real life examples and real insights from someone who is really working with RLSA every day. So I realize I'm dressed exactly like last Tuesday, but I promise this is not recorded. Everything is live. So it's just maybe on Tuesdays, I like to have a pink jacket, probably. So, let's just recap on last week's survey. So again, thanks again for filling in. We got a lot of answers. So it's nice to see how this community is growing, and it's nice to see your participation. So you remember last week's session was about dynamic remarketing and introduction to RLSA. So we asked you which dynamic remarketing list would you use to reach the do objective and make users convert. And the right answer was cart abandoners. So if you are trying to re-engage with your cart abandoners, of course, you're trying to make them purchase your products. To implement RLSA at campaign level, any ad group level list has to be removed. This is true. So campaign level is a new tool, it's really powerful. But if you are implementing campaign level RLSA on a campaign that has already RLSA at ad group level, make sure you are removing it. The ad group lists. Everything is in last week's presentation, so you have all the steps. Make sure you review it before transitioning to campaign level RLSA. A rule of thumb, so a one-fits-all rule for RLSA bid adjustment is to set 100% bid adjustment because returning users have twice the chance to convert. And this is true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 100% bid adjustment, we've seen last time in many ways on how you can set up bid adjustment the best way. If you're just want to have a rule of thumb, this is the best one, 100% one-fits-all. Again, you know that we are tracking attendance after every session. So remember to fill in the questionnaire by the Monday after. So today after the session, we're going to send you the questionnaire and you have time until next Monday to fill it in. Again, I've seen a few questions on the questionnaire that you ask about products. I prefer you to ask questions during the live stream on the right column. Don't be shy. I'm not sure you have noticed that when we upload the presentation, I always add a couple of slides at the end where you have all the answer to the questions that you asked. So also those we were not able to answer during the live stream. So don't be shy. If you visit the website of this program, you will have the recordings and the presentation itself. And the presentation contains all the questions that you asked. So please make sure you are really interactive. We will try to answer all your questions at the end of the live stream. If we can't, I will follow up in the presentation itself. So feel free to go back and review last time's presentation as well. So in this session, we are just covering basically RLSA, going advanced in your RLSA strategy. So we're going to explain you how RLSA works with automatic bidding strategy. We're going to show you how you can use target and bid RLSA in RLSA for an advanced RLSA strategy. I am proud to introduce you a really new tool that has been released no more than 10 days ago, so last week, basically. And it's the new if function for audiences. I won't give you any detail. We will see this in detail later. And then I will show you how you can do a test with analytics to see how a bid adjustment on an RLSA list is bringing you incremental traffic and incremental conversion. I really ask you to pay attention about this last step because there are no resources on it. So we're really sharing these openly through a really hands-on guide for the first time. So it's something pretty advanced. And I think it's going to be really, really useful.
Yeah, if you guys have followed the previous session, I think you will see that there's a little bit of a step up compared to today. It's more the continuation and a bit more advanced. There's no, right or wrong compared to the last time. It's just a little bit more advanced. And what's good, I think, is you're going to have a bit of an understanding of how we set up bid-only strategies versus today target and bid strategies. With normally can go both ways, but there's always a reason why we go for one or for the other.
Yeah, and it's really important for us that you also have elements to talk with your clients.
Absolutely.
Because your agencies, you have clients working with you, so you might need to explain them a few strategies that you are implementing. So it's nice that you have also good selling points to explain them the value of our products. So it's really, really important for us that you have all these strategic elements with you. So I'm going to just leave Clément introducing your RLSA Advanced strategies. I will jump in sometimes. We really want this conversation to be interactive. And again, feel free to ask questions on the right column, especially today that we're talking about like advanced strategies. Don't be shy.
Cool. All right. So first of all, as I was saying, we're going to do a quick recap regarding what is an RLSA bid-only strategy and a target and bid. So when we're talking bid-only, and you guys have seen it a little bit on the last session, it's basically having the search ads that can be shown for both new users and returning users. So all the lists that we will be adding in bid-only will show those ads as well. So the same campaign, same ad group, but two different kind of receivers in a way. And as I said, we set the bid adjustment directly on those remarketing lists. So, I mean, just as an example, me being a new user, I've never been to this website. Alessia already has seen the product that she liked. Maybe she's been browsing around the website. You have the possibility for the same ad in the same campaign, same ad group, bidding a little bit more for Alessia than for me, simply because she knows your product a little bit better. The target and bid strategy is a little more specific. So the search ads can only show to people on the list that you're targeting. So in this case, me being a new user, Alessia being a returning, your strategy would only hit Alessia, in this case that she's searching. So we will go through a little bit why would you opt for those strategies, but the main idea is this. One allows you to be at the same time for both, bid only in this case, and for targeted bid is a bit more specific, going only for the list that you're targeting.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right, so the way we see it, that bid only can be added with several lists. So in this case, RLSA multiplied by other political adjustments. So this could be several lists, or in this case, something that you might be doing already, which is, for example, bidding at a location, London in this case being a city that you're looking for a little bit more, and using the RLSA list. So let's just want to explain the calculation.
So many times I think you receive this question from your clients. We also receive it from our clients. So what happens if I have RLSA in bid-only mode with 100% bid adjustment, let's say, or a 350% bid adjustment, whatever. But I am also bidding 100% more for users who are in London. So what happens if someone that is in London and is also on my RLSA list is searching for my keyword? What will be the final bid for that kind of user? So let's say that you are bidding as a standard starting bid, manual bid, 0.10 euro cents. So that's your standard bid with no bid adjustments applied. And let's say that you are bidding 100% on those users who are in London. So you are willing to double your bids for someone who is in London. And then let's also say that you are willing to apply a 350% bid adjustment to those who are in the RLSA list. What is the total final bid for someone who is in London and in the RLSA list? How all those bid adjustments interact? It's pretty simple. It's not really intuitive, but it's actually really simple. So the bid adjustments are multiplied. So 10 cents is your first, you can look at the equation there. 10 cents is your first starting bid. This will be multiplied by 7 because you're applying a double, like you're multiplying by 2 for someone who is in London. So for someone who is in London, you're willing to bid twice, and you're willing to bid 3.5 times more for someone who is on the RLSA list. So 10 cents times 7. So for someone who is in London and on your RLSA list, your final bid will be 70 cents. So I think this is really, really important and really interesting for you to understand what's the final bid when you have multiple bid adjustments interacting. The same will be valid for your mobile bid adjustments as well.
Absolutely. I think this is a very clear case. For example, with clients that I work with, which are direct clients, especially if they sell services, they have always this kind of questions because in Spain, in the clients that I work with, of course, Madrid and Barcelona being such important things, such important cities for them, what tends to happen is sometimes they already are doing only geolocation, so campaigns that are only showing for those cities, or they're doing nationwide campaigns with those bid adjustments on the city. So if they're only showing in, for example, Madrid, this case wouldn't apply. But if they're showing everywhere in Spain with a bid adjustment already in Madrid or in Barcelona, this is exactly the case. It needs to be those kind of questions where understanding for them, where are their KPIs, where should they be investing more, where is that population that's more important for them, and also for us showing with the RLSA. So it's combining the two in a way.
Yeah, and it's really important for you that you are able to understand this and to explain this to your clients as well.
Cool. So following on, we wanted to also explain you a little bit now, seeing what kind of lists and demographic can overlap, a case where they do not overlap. So RLSA and customer match gives you a great example. When we're using both together, you make sure that you're following the best practice. Some of RLSA and customer match might overlap, which we mean is the same cookie could be in one of your lists and also in the customer match, because you giving a list of people that you assume would be interesting for you, and they could actually be in your all visitors list, for example. And as those two lists overlap, it's crucial to have a higher bid adjustment on customer match than in RLSA. In this case, we say better to have it on customer match simply because we understand that you know that kind of cookie better. And especially for initial tests, it's really important to have it separate to make sure that the system can measure properly. And once both of those cookies could go to bid to the auction, it will only select the one with the highest bid. So as I was saying, a lot of traffic can be reached from customer match, but it will be trumped and still from the RLSA efforts because the auction will be in. This happening, of course, as I said, only one list can go to the auction. In this case, we would say that the customer match list would go instead of the RLSA, simply because of the higher bid adjustment. And as I was saying, on demographic for search, those are separate.
Yeah. So why we are explaining this? Because we just told you in the previous slide that bid adjustments are multiplied. This is true, but not where we are talking about RLSA and customer match. RLSA and customer match overlap. Demographic for search ads, the rule that apply is the one that we were explaining before for London. So if you're applying a 10%, I don't know, on male users that are all, and you also have 10% on the RLSA list, the two bid adjustment will be multiplied, as we explained before. For customer match and RLSA, no. So pay attention, they are overlapping. So if you are setting a higher bid adjustment on an RLSA list, that will prevail on the customer match in case a cookie is shared by both lists.
Yeah, we will talk a little bit further down to, for example, cases where you have cross-selling and you need to understand which list go with which kind of product. And this is we'll still touch a little bit about that. But that's the thing. Knowing that if they do overlap, always putting a little bit of a higher bid adjustment allows the system to exactly choose the ones you want. In this case, as Alessia was saying, customer match over RLSA. Go ahead. With smart bidding, it's something that we wanted to talk to you a little bit more. So as you might know, when we talk about smart bidding, is the examples of target CPA, target ROAS, or enhanced CPC, as you say, ECBC. First of all, of course, the prerequisite is to have the right conversion tracking strategy in place. So we're talking, for example, when using target ROAS, you want to have everything aligned with analytics. So the value of the conversion is based in analytics as well. So you can have the right measurement. For target CPA, it's the same thing. It's being sure that you're talking about the old spectrum and valuing that CPA for your advertisers. It's basically the idea through machine learning. And when we talk about this, the fact that the wide range of auction time signals are based in that smart bidding. We're talking about, for example, device, location of day and time, the remarketing list that you will be using, language and operation system. And the idea behind that is RLSA already takes that in mind, so you wouldn't have to add any bid adjustment. The thing is, it's smart bidding, and the definition goes there for itself. The system automatically learns what works better for you versus new users and returning, or even the type of list that you're using, and will automatically use that bid adjustment.
We've talked a lot about bid adjustments, manual bid adjustment, plus 100%, plus 120%. So it's a lot of work. Imagine you're using 5 RLSA lists in each chat group, and you have 10 campaigns. It's a lot to manage, right? So if you have a good conversion tracking in place, try to switch to smart bidding. You will not need to set any bid adjustment at RLSA level. There's a few exceptions for a non-CPC that we're going to see now. But the system will just bid according to machine learning. So bid to value, bid trying to increase the number of conversions given your target CPA, your target ROAS. So really simple.
Yeah. A great example on that is specifically target CPA. Because what you will see is with your clients, the first conversation in search normally starts with CPC. You want to have the correct CPC at a very granular level, make it as optimized as possible. The natural step, once everything is aligned, is of course to go to target CPA. And once target CPA is set and working well for you, having the option to, leave the system bidding automatically for those, especially regarding RLSA, it really is the best way to do it. It's, as Alessia was saying, it could be such a big account with, more than 500, an MCC with more than 500 accounts, so you're completely already, there's so much information that you need to take in consideration to make those little changes in CPC. If you have the opportunity to go to target CPA, everything will be done automatically, and the RLSA itself as well.
Exactly.
And this is the idea we were going to present. So if you consider RLSA plus smart bidding, in the case, of course, of target ROAS and target CPA, there is no need to apply RLSA list to make it work. So basically, what we mean is the bid adjustment, you don't have to actually put it. It will already be taken in consideration.
You just need to apply the lists to say that returning users are more valuable to you.
Absolutely.
No need to apply any manual bid adjustment.
It says adjust bids that account for audience membership in place of anything you said, and ignore your manual bid adjustment in place. This is very important because it could be something that you've already done when you were doing CPC, and it might have already worked well for you. We're not saying that you need to take a step back. It's actually a step up. When you're doing CPC, you've put the bid adjustment that was working well for you. Once you've applied target ROAS or target CPA, the system will already do that for you. In the case of eCPC, you need to additionally apply the bid adjustment.
Yeah. So what happens is basically when you are using target ROAS or target CPA, the only thing that you have to do to tell the system, I want RLSA users to be considered into the bid of the auction automatically by the system, is just to apply those lists that are the most interesting to you. And the system will decide and will ignore any bid adjustment, manual bid adjustment previously applied. When it comes to enhanced CPC, what happens is that enhanced CPC is kind of halfway among manual bidding and automatic bidding. So let's say that you have applied 100% bid adjustment on the RLSA list. The system will consider that 100% bid adjustment. So let's say that if through enhanced CPC that the system would have bid, 30 cents for a given auction, if the user that is participating to the auction is someone on your RLSA list and you have 100% bid adjustment on the RLSA list, the system will bid twice, so 100% more. It's a bit halfway. So for enhanced CPC, it's kind of a journey towards automation. With target ROAS and target CPA, it's fully automatic. No need to put any manual bid adjustment. So great achievement, super easy.
That was exactly what I was going to say, actually. CPC really works as a good starting point to get to smart bidding. It really is the way, I think, when, especially in my case, when I work with direct advertisers that are interested in pure performance and want to optimize their account, once they understand how CPC can be, a glass ceiling towards performance, trying out eCPC with them actually makes them a little bit of an idea how the system works alone. And once you move towards target CPA, as Alessia was saying, the RLSA will be done automatically. So there will be no need for those manual bid adjustments.
So for objection handling, would you suggest to move towards an NCPC before and then target ROAS for those reluctant clients?
Exactly. Normally, that's what I do. There's always that smart bidding conversation along the way. You just need to understand how close they are to that. But the ECPC is definitely a good way to, I wouldn't even say test, because you know where you're going. It's more, taking that middle step towards smart bidding, and the results I have always with ECPC are really good. And you want to explain this is a very new part of the presentation, and I think Alessia was very excited to tell you guys about this.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy because this is something that just, it's a new entry in our smart bidding algorithm when we are calculating the bids in a campaign that has got RLSA. So I know many of you are really passionate about new products and new features. So now the algorithm, when it calculates the final bid for a campaign with smart bidding and RLSA, is taking into account the recency. So when the cookie joined the RLSA list. So let's say that, for example, you have the same cookie in 3 or 4 different RLSA lists. The list that will prevail when we are calculating the bid adjustment at auction time level, so really real time, will be the one that the cookie joined last. Why? Because we think that, of course, the most recent the user is on the list, the better. It means that it's got a really recent interest in what you offer. So a list duration of 300 days have a better performance for those cookies that joined in the past 7 days versus those who joined 300 days ago. So we're taking into consideration the recency.
I think this is a very important point, especially for advertisers you might have that have a long conversion funnel. So it happens for me, for example, where the checkout procedure is very, very long. So we're talking about more than 5 steps, for example. This works really well as in to be sure that maybe the first step is the one that works well with RLSA simply because there's a lot of people that leave. But if you think about it, as soon as you get to the 4th, even the 5th step before the checkout, that's where they are. And it might be the ones that are more recent. So those kind of little difficulties that RLSA used to have regarding to understand which cookie works better, with this, it actually solves the problem.
And machine learning is learning, right? While doing and while creating the algorithm itself. So really leave it to machine learning and you will have really good and performance in a really simple way.
Absolutely. And I think this is a very important point once we were talking about a little bit bid only versus target and bid. I know with the sessions you've been going through with Alessia, you've talked about the RLSA framework. Now we want to understand a little bit on the 5th step, what are the advantages and the specific points where you can use target and bid. So in this case, we're talking about, for example, adding new keywords to extend your reach. We will talk a little bit about other options, and this is where I think target and bid can be the most important.
Yeah.
So the idea of target and bid, as I was saying, is apply your marketing list to new campaigns or ad groups, target and bid, and use much broader keywords that you would use, especially if they're expensive. So I think there's nothing better to give you a real life example to explain what we mean. So if you're talking about a bit of a smaller advertiser that knows that the keyword, let's say sneakers, Nike sneakers online is, as you can imagine, very, very competitive. So an expensive one that he wouldn't be able to go for all new users. If he's bidding on that keyword, but specifically for the RLSA list, it's a very smaller audience, and he knows that they're closer to conversions because they know the website, of course, they've been there and they've been searching for those products. Adding the two together, it's a perfect strategy to have a target and bid only. Then you can, of course, have things like, as we're saying, the bidding on those keywords, but you can also have a specific budget for those campaigns, call it RLSA only campaigns, for example. And the great thing about it is you can customize landing pages to even specific promotions, for example, where the people that already know your website, already know generic landing pages, will go directly to a specific promotion page.
Yeah, exactly. So you're willing to pay more because you're bidding on more generic keywords, but only on those users that are already familiar with your website. So the conversion chances are higher. So it's true you're willing to pay more, but for those who are most probably going to convert.
Exactly. And the comment we mentioned here, when RLSA bid strategy is consolidated and working well, that's what we meant by once you have a RLSA strategy, a basic one that's working for you, having this advanced target and bid actually can even go further than that. A great example is, when you have clients that are a little bit reluctant to do RLSA, you can have a very generic bid-only approach to make them understand how much more value they have from returning users. And that specific step is, let's go for that very important list, having the one that converts the better. That, for example, for a retailer, the shop cart abandoners is always a very good list. And doing exactly as I was saying, a target and bid RLSA only campaign, when we know that the bid only that we had was working, and we can make it working even better. Great. And these are the kind of
ideas,
yeah.
Suggestions.
I was going to say the case studies, but yeah, ideas that we wanted to mention that would work better with an advanced target and bid. So on the left, for example, with the closed conversion loop, let's say that we have the list of shopping cart abandoners, which is one that I always talk about because I think it's just the best example. And we can use keywords for brands and generics, exactly as I was saying. So in the case that we're talking about keywords that are a bit too expensive to have for everyone searching, let's go only for those that list that works really well for you. And maybe you can even add an ad text information that would, limited time promo or 7 days only, those kind of things that give a little, yeah, exactly, push a little bit that call to action. And as I was mentioning, the landing page send users to a limited time deal to encourage transaction completion in a very sophisticated way of saying just push them towards conversion. Now the orange one, cross-up and upselling with RLSA, for me, I think it's very interesting because I actually worked on a very similar case with a personal client. They were very reluctant to use RLSA because they were doing a lot of cross-selling, exactly. So someone that converted once could actually come back and convert several times. And as you can imagine, because of that, all the lists were kind of mixed. Someone that bought one product could be a product visitor of a secondary product and could actually be a shop cart abandoner of a third one. So once we did this bid-only approach, it was very difficult to quantify the results. Some lists were working well on a Monday, Tuesday, and then the Wednesday they didn't work simply because of the behaviors of the users. And that's why we said, let's go for a target and bid only strategy where we're sure that we can have directly the persons we want versus the products they need. So in this case, past converters works really well. In our case, it was exactly that. It says special deals when you have keywords for branded and product related. In our case, was simply as soon as they were converters from one type of product, we would use that list as past converted, let's say product one, and they were doing target and bid on the other types of products, of course, with the branded and product terms, but completely excluded from the list for the first product. So they bought here, let's cancel here, and let's try to go for other products. That really was a very granular approach, but at least we were sure that we were always showing to the right cookie, the right product, something that if you already had, it wouldn't even be showing. If it was a new product, it would be showing.
Yeah.
And for customer match, the last one, it's, for example, to promote customer loyalty. So we're talking about a customer match only campaign for subscription that expired, for example, that converters that are not on the loyalty program. And for that, of course, using only the branded and generic keywords.
Yeah. Cool. So these are just a few ideas. You can mix and match those. Absolutely. And talk to your account managers, strategies always. But this is really good to give you an understanding on how you can use target and bid. And remember, this is pretty advanced. Try always to achieve good results with bid only, and then try to move to target and bid.
Absolutely. I think what you will see is with bid only, sometimes it works everywhere, which is great, but sometimes it could only work on some of your lists and not all. And that's why I think having those two strategies really well aligned with the ones you're doing bid only and the ones you're doing target and bid only would work really well for you. So it's basically going a little bit on a generic versus a very specific, but the two of them can work together. Cool. And this is also a very new function regarding our ad customizer. And Alessia wanted to also explain you how it works.
It has been launched really, as I said, last week, and it's a new function that we were all waiting for a while. So I'm really proud to introduce this to you. And it's a way to customize the ad text according to the audience to which you are displaying the ad text in a bid-only mode. So you will not need anymore to use target and bid campaigns if the only scope of your target and bid campaigns was to customize the ad text according to the audience. Through this function, in your existing bid-only campaign, you will be able to customize the ad and say to the system, if the ad is being shown to someone who is not in a given audience, that will be the text that I want to have displayed. And if the ad is shown to someone who is actually in one of these lists that you choose, the text is going to be another one. So why it is important? Because you can use bid-only campaigns, so get rid of the target and bid to customize the ad text, and let the system automatically change the ad text according to the audience it is displayed to. So, for example, if you want to give a different message to someone who is in your RLSA list, let's say, I don't know, you want to say, for example, hurry up, sales are going on for those who are on the RLSA list. And it's not that important for you to say the same to those who are not in the RLSA list. You can do that in bid-only mode. So I think this is great. This is really a revolution. How you do that? It's super, super simple. So you will just need to write that small parenthesis into your ad text and use a formula that I have pasted there. But anyway, in the presentation, I have linked all the resources that explain you how to customize the ads this way. So, but basically, when you add that parenthesis in your ad text, in the title of your ad, a drop-down menu will be displayed. And you see that the last part of this drop-down menu says if function. So you will click in if function, and you will write the if function that you see there in your head. So automatically, you will see if the audience sees, for example, the all users list. So if what it means is if this ad is being displayed to someone that is in the all users list, show this text in. So where you see text to insert, you will insert the text that you want to be seen by those who are in the RLSA list. And then the default text will be the text that is going to be displayed to everyone. So really simple, really easy. Use your normal campaigns in bid-only mode and customize the ad text according to the audience you are displaying it to.
I think this is actually interesting to see that it is exactly the middle ground between your bid-only strategy and your target and bid strategy. So what this allows you to do, as Alessia was saying, is give that, I would say, personalized creative to people that are already in your remarketing list.
To encourage them to click.
Exactly. But you've been already working with bid-only and it works really well for you. So this is a very good way to boost even more your CTR, giving a little bit of an aggressive push on those users that you know that are working, even though you're targeting everyone. But of course, the target and bid strategy that we were talking about will be more for those kind of things that you want to limit it a little bit your audience and those kind of things. So this actually would be a little bit of a bid-only advanced strategy that I actually think works really well.
Yeah, and it's super simple to set. So really, really nice.
Cool.
So this is just an example how if you're using the if function, how the ad is showing automatically according to the audience that is seeing the ad. So really, really simple. All right, this is, I think, the most interesting part of this session. So first, I have to apologize already because there are going to be a few technical things here because I have to show you some videos. So it's going to be a bit slower. So please bear with me. It's going to be anyway really interesting for you, but I apologize already in advance. It's going to be we're not going to fly through the rest of the presentation. Let's put it this way. So I really want to show you this way through which, thanks to analytics, you can try to prove the value of RLSA to your customers, or anyway to yourself. So let's say that, for example, you want to see if a bid adjustment on an RLSA list is for real giving you a better ranking of your ads, a better CTR, and a higher number of conversions. So many times we ask ourselves, but why should I put a bid adjustment on an RLSA list? Why should I bid 100% more on a given RLSA list? Is this really worth it? Am I getting for real more conversion that if I'm not applying any RLSA bids at all? So through this test, which is super simple to do, you will be able to answer this question. You will be able to see what happens if you are applying an RLSA list with a given bid adjustment versus if you are not applying any bid adjustment at all.
Exactly. I think this is a very good way to answer some, let's say, aggressive pushback that you might have from some of your customers. It happens with direct customers as well, where they really don't see the added value of RLSA. They understand the concept, but the measurement part might be a difficulty. With this test, you'll be able to show directly the data that's behind RLSA and the reason why that CPA is lower or that conversion rate is higher.
Yeah, and you can see what happens when you are applying an RLSA bid adjustment versus not applying an RLSA bid adjustment at all. Or for example, you can say what happens when you are applying, 200% bid adjustment versus 100% bid adjustment. So you can also try to test different kind of bid adjustments. So let's really try to go on. I added a bit of text here so that when you go back to the presentation, you have a bit of context, because again, there are not many resources that explain this to you.
Sure.
So it was important for me that you have a good repository of whatever we said. So how is this possible? This is possible because analytics is able to split your cookie list. So what happens is that analytics is able to create two lists which are made of the exact same type of cookie, but just creating two lists separately. So for example, analytics is able to split into your all users list. So let's say that, for example, me and Clement, we are both on the all user lists. What analytics is able to do is to create two different lists in which we will be split. So Clement will be in list number 1, and I will be in list number 2. What happens is that you can apply both lists, list number 1, to the same ad group, and you can apply a bid adjustment on Clement's list and not on me, and see how we are performing with a bid adjustment or without. And
the great thing about that is that there's absolutely no influence in what's going on list 1 or list 2. We're giving this example, but it could be, you know that your campaigns work better on a Monday than on a Tuesday. This is considered as well. So the same people on Mondays will go from A to B. The same people on Tuesday will go from A to B. So it really is like a copy of the two lists. And then you can see how one works better versus the other.
Yeah, it's a copy, but made really a split list.
A split,
so what is good, it's done really randomly. So we want to make this really statistically significant.
Exactly.
So what happened is that, let's say that, 1,000 cookies visit your website today. Each of these cookies will be given a number from 1 to 50, or from 51 to 100. So let's say that I visit the list and I visit the website and I am number 1, Clement is number 2, and then there is someone else that is number 50, and then there is someone else that is number 51, and someone else that is number 100. So all these cookies will be assigned a number. Those who are in a number from 1 to 50 will end up in a list. And those who are in number from 51 to 100 will end up in another list. So we are both part of the all users of your website, but just split into separate groups randomly and in a statistically significant way. So I just want to show you how you can create the RLSA test list. So I have recorded some videos of my screen, but again, what we are trying to show here is to apply the same kind of users list to the same ad group and apply a bid adjustment to one of the list and not any bid adjustment to the other list, or different bid adjustments, and compare the performances of the two.
Absolutely. Just one thing regarding technical part, if you're watching the video not in HD, please switch to HD at this point, just to be sure that you'll be able to watch the video. It might be, as Alessio was saying, a little bit slow, but at least we want to be sure that you get the exact idea that we're passing by.
I forgot to say this. So there should be a wheel somewhere, and you can switch to the high quality text mode for reminding me. So simply, really simply, go to your analytics account, to the analytics account that is linked to the AdWords account that you want to do the testing. Go to audiences, start to create a new list, and this is what's going to happen. So create a new list is where you have to click, and click on conditions under the advanced tab. Make sure you're clicking on users. It's really important. And then select user bucket as a type of list. And just write user bucket more than 50. And that is going to be your first list. What we are trying to say into the system here, we're going to call this list RLSA test list. What we're saying to the system is all those users with the logic that I was explaining before, that get assigned a number from 1 to 50, get into this list. Then you will have to do exactly the same with the second list. So we need to create another list for those users who get assigned a number from 51 to 100. So again, same procedure as before. Sorry, I told you we're not going to fly through this. So you create a new list. Again, advanced conditions. Instead of session, make sure you are selecting users, because we are splitting the list according to users, not according to session. Select user bucket again, and this time it will be minus or equal to 50. So all those users that are minus or equal to 50 will end up being part of this second control list. And you can call this list RLSA control. So really as easy as it is. So now we have two lists that are exactly like kind of the same list, but just split in two. So we took all the users on the website and created two lists out of it. Now you will have to apply the lists to an ad group. So simply the lists will be imported automatically, I think really 2 minutes later, into your AdWords account. So go to the same ad group, really important. The test is done at the same ad group, in the same ad group, so at ad group level, or you can do it also at the campaign level. And apply the two separate lists, the RLSA control list and the RLSA test list. So this is the normal procedure. You just go to interest and remarketing, you add your remarketing list, and select RLSA control and RLSA test. You apply them in a bid-only mode. You click on save, and there you go. You have the two lists. So what happened is that on the RLSA list, you can apply a bid adjustment, let's say 100%, our default and the preferred bid adjustment. And on the other, you just leave no bid adjustment at all. Or you can use two different bid adjustments. So what you will be able to see is to see how the two perform according to the bid adjustment that you applied.
Of course, in this case, we're using what Alessio was saying, the test one versus control, but there's also this case that you know that a list will perform better with a higher bid adjustment, and you want to prove that, so you can create a list with a bid adjustment that's already the one that we'll be using at a bid only, and you can add, let's say I'm going to test 200 and a 400, something like that. So it would still be the same concept of test one and test two in this case, with the buckets, as Alessia was saying. Just the difference is the two of them will have a different bid adjustment.
Exactly. So what we suggest you to do is to apply these two lists, use the adjustments that you want, and just wait for 100 conversions before making any conclusion. We understand that these 100 conversion might be a bit too ambitious, especially for small businesses. So at least wait for 2 weeks. So what happens, what you will see is that you will have probably different ad ranking according to the two RLSA lists. You will have probably different number of conversions, so you will be able to prove if an RLSA bid adjustment is worth it.
Exactly.
So what I've seen with some clients is that we had a RLSA bid adjustment list with 100% that was actually working, so we had clicks on it, and other lists with no bid adjustment applied that weren't receiving any click. Why? Because without bid adjustment, they were not able to win the auction. As simple as that. So it was really easy to prove the value of RLSA.
Exactly. You can always see, exactly as Alessia was saying, to prove the value of RLSA, or in very specific cases that I'm sure you already had with your customers, when we're talking about, for example, RLSA works for me, but I don't want it on my brand terms. That's always a conversation that you might have, simply because they know that the keyword for their own brand is cheaper, and why would I pay more for something that I already own? Those kind of conversations that we all had. This works really, really well to show the value as everything together, or if you want to test different lists. In my case, it works exactly like that. They were completely bought in RLSA and really saw the potential for not only the generic terms, but also those very expensive ones that we were talking about with Target and Bid. But their brand, they were very certain that it would be just paying more for something that they already own. And by testing that with the test one versus control, we already saw that even if they were performing well on their brand terms alone, with that bid adjustment, going for a little bit of those higher conversion rates, it worked really well for them and they got really good results.
And the good thing is that you're testing these on exactly the same kind of users, so it's not biased, in the same ad group at the same time. So you're not, for example, making your experiment being biased by seasonality. So if you're testing RLSA today for 10 days and then, I don't know, in summer, of course, it might be different the way it performs, right? So it's not really a statistically significant way of testing RLSA. With this test that looks complicated, actually you've seen it's super, super easy. Everything is done by analytics. You just need to set up the lists. You can test in a really statistically significant way your bid adjustments and the impact on your conversions, ad rank, click, and so on.
And I also think regarding the conversations of the stakeholders you might have, so of course, talking about directly the traffic manager or directly with the teams that make those decisions from your customer, this is a great way for them to actually have some sort of proof in a way to show they're on their own side. Listen, this comes from the analytics. We have lists that are completely unbiased, and all that conversation that normally is a little bit harder for us because we only see the AdWords side, giving the analytics a little bit of more perspective, it's really helpful to maybe, knock those walls in, so to speak.
So we hope it's clear. Feel free to ask questions. If not, anyway, you will have the presentation uploaded, so you can follow all the steps again. I will make sure to take some screenshots. So we have a bit more than 10 minutes left, so we really want to answer your questions live. I will just go through the main takeaways of this session. So again, thanks, Lemon, for being with us today. And I really want to thank you, all the guys that are working from the back end that you never see, but we never thank them. It's they're doing a great job. So really, I want to...
It's easy for us just speaking. They make that actually happening. So.
Yeah, so thanks really to everyone involved. So main takeaways of this session. First, simple one, use smart bidding to get rid of managing list bids on your own, as simple as it is. Use RLSA in Target and Bid as an advanced strategy, so make sure you have developed your bid-only strategies before. And it's particularly useful to expand your keywords, as Clement was explaining us in detail before. Get rid of RLSA in Target and Bid when the only scope of RLSA and Target and Bid for you was to customize the text ad according to audiences, because we have the new if function. I have linked all the resources at the end of this presentation, so you can go through all the implementation steps. And and then use our analytics cookie split test to prove or to analyze the impact of RLSA bid adjustments on the performance of your ad groups.
I think those 4 points really recap everything we were saying. And I would like to underline again what we mentioned in the beginning. You don't have to opt for a bid-only strategy or a targeted and bid strategy. As you see, there's several ways you can go from one to the other or actually work with the two at the same time. The only thing is to really be aligned with what are the KPIs from your customer side. Working with direct customers, it often happens that they have pushbacks regarding RLSA simply because their understanding of what we can actually achieve, it's not perfectly aligned with what we actually can do. So having that conversation of what is the intent that you want to have with this case, RLSA, target and bid only, starting with that point of conversation really helps us for, okay, what you need is actually, first of all, going on smart bidding, then CPA, then RLSA, those kind of questions. Or simply, well, you have a very bid-only strategy, maybe you should move to that target and bid. It's a little bit those conversations that also help you to understand what actually works best for your customer.
Yeah, we gave you a lot of tools today. You can really try to make the best use out of them. Okay, we have 10 minutes for questions, so it's a lot. We managed our time really good today. Okay, so first question from Goff. I hope I'm pronouncing your name well. With target ROAS or CPA, when you say apply the audience, are we talking bid only or target and bid? I appreciate the bid adjustment only matters for eCPC though. We're talking about both.
Exactly.
We can say it's for both. If we're talking about bid only, what it means that you have to apply the list to tell the system that that list is valuable to you and that you want that list to be part of the algorithm of the in the auction itself. But you can use target CPA with a target and bid ad group as well.
Yeah, I think the idea behind that is normally when you work with CPA, it already is that the client is very aligned with those ideas of smart bidding. So it's a very easy step going from a CPA campaign to add those lists in bid only. It really is very technically, it takes 5 minutes or not even 5 seconds. It's very simple to do. So that's why majority of times I think it will be bid only, but there's absolutely no problem with that. If you still prefer to have a target and bid strategy for, as we were mentioning, those specific keywords that might be a little bit harder to get, working CPA and target and bid will work perfectly.
Yeah. Cool. And we have another 2 questions on the function. So Ross is asking if you can use different messaging for different audiences in one function ad. So you can use the same different messaging for more than one audience. So if you want to say, for example, I want to display these ad text to shopping cart abandoners and all users list, you can do it using the same if function. So yeah, in the link that I put at the end of the presentations, there are instructions on how you can do that. So you can basically just put a comma after the name of the first list and before the name of the second, and that will be the way you tell the system for both these lists use this kind of messaging. And another question is about the if functions. Are you able to differentiate between mobile and tablet? You can use the if function for mobile as well. So you can say display this ad text if the person who is searching for my keywords is browsing from a mobile versus desktop.
So this works really well for clients that also would like to bring some traffic directly to the store, for example. It really is strong that you can have that come visit us, for example, message directly on mobile and have it completely opt out for desktop and tablet, because you would imagine people would be at home. So having that if function for actually, it's a very good question, because having it for different mobile, tablet or desktop actually works really well to personalize that ad and also go for a higher CTR in this case.
So it's all for, wait, we have another question just coming up now. We have still 5 minutes left, so feel free to continue to ask your questions. So we have Thomas. I'm still thinking about that part with customer list and RLSA audience. why you need to bid higher for customer match? Why does it matter?
Well, in this case, the idea that we were giving, the why we wanted to bid higher, is simply because we understand that as a generic part, if you have a customer match list, you already know which cookies you're talking about, so they would be more valuable. The idea is simply to force the system in a way to understand what's more valuable than not. It goes a little bit the same way if we talk for two RLSA lists at the same time, having, let's say, product visitors and shopped cart abandoners. Having the two added on a campaign or in an ad group, what you want is to have the highest bid adjustment for the one that is in a way closer to conversion. It's exactly the same concept. Bidding higher makes sure that if the system has to choose between the same cookie in two lists, it will go for the highest one. So in this case, we assume that customer match would be closer to conversion, same thing as shopping cart abandoners versus all visitors, for example.
But it's not a fixed rule. Of
Absolutely.
course, you can adjust it according to the needs of your customer or strategy of your customer. I think it's all for today. I don't see any other question coming up, so you have 5 minutes back. So thanks again to Clément for being here. I will just show you just quickly what we're gonna go through during our next session. So next session will be, oh no, wait, I think this is wrong actually. I think I might just swap to 2 sessions. Next session is actually gonna be about display, so I'm sorry. I made a lot of presentations, so I'm wrong. I will change it, so next session we're gonna talk about display. I think it's really important for you to understand, we have given you a lot of information, especially in the first 2 sessions. We talk a lot about our different audiences, why audience matter, and I think that now you're thinking about, so what? So what do I need to do with my display strategy? We have talked about remarketing, we've talked about dynamic remarketing. So in the next session, we're gonna go through how you can build your display strategy, why it is important to have a display strategy, how you can mix all the audiences that we have to build a good display strategy, and how you can use also automation to be successful. So I'm sorry for this mistake. I will correct this before we upload the presentation. But anyway, do not forget to fill in the survey. Links are in the description of the video if you don't find it, but you should receive it also via email. Yeah, I would say it's all for today. Thanks again, and see you next week. Please fill in the survey. It just takes 5 minutes, and it's really important to get the certification. See you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you.